Hi lovelies, welcome back to my channel. But if you are new here, hi, my name is Taylor and I do post new nail tutorials every week. I'm getting right into today's video. I'll be sharing with you guys how I do an acrylic infill, and I am going to be filling both her hands today because it's the perfect opportunity for me to share with you guys what an extreme infill with some nail replacements look like compared to a regular basic acrylic infill. Now I do apologize because I thought I was recording the part when I removed her design, but unfortunately I wasn't. However, my client has returned after 1 month, and as you guys can see, she's missing 3 nails on her right hand, but her left hand is well intact. But on her ring finger and her thumb, I can see there's trauma. Because of this, I can tell these were forcefully popped off, not intentionally. By her, accidents do happen, but don't worry, we are here to fix that. Starting with my prep, I'm taking my Kira Sky Rechargeable e-file as well as their black medium sanding band and their mandrel bit, and I'm going to very gently remove the shine off of her natural nail plate while also blending in the old acrylic on the nails that just need a fill to make sure that it's as flush as possible to the natural nail. Now I am doing this very gently and I'm putting little to no pressure on my e-file. I am actually allowing my e-file to do the work for me, and to do this step I am working with my e-file at 3000 RPMs because this is the speed where I feel most comfortable when doing this step. I'm also making sure to keep my e-file parallel to the nail plates and constantly moving it around the nail to prevent any heat spikes, rings of fire, or indentations on her natural nail plate, which can possibly hurt or make my client uncomfortable, and I definitely don't want to do that. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish doing this step. For my cuticle prep, I am taking the Melody Susie flat end cylinder diamond bit, and I'm going in and remove all the excess cuticle that my mandrel bit would have missed. Now because this bit is smaller and it does have a flat top, it gets into the cuticle area and around those sidewalls, and it's just so precise in getting all that extra dead cuticle off the nail, which is also so satisfying to watch, but which makes a huge difference when it comes to preventing lifting. As you guys can see, there is still a lot of that cuticle left on her nails, and if I were to leave that there, then these nails will not last. Now for this step, I did move the speed of my e-file up just a little bit to 4000 RPMs as I feel it works best for my cuticle prep process. So I'm just going to repeat that on the rest of these nails as well. My final step when prepping the cuticle area is to take this diamond cuticle ball bit, also by Melody Susie, and I'm going to gently buff that cuticle area. Now honestly, I don't like using my cuticle nippers unless I absolutely have to, and the client that I'm working on today, she really prefers if I don't use nippers either, and I've come to really love using this bit because it does remove any of that extra stubborn cuticle. Now I have my e-file at 5,000 RPMs. Yes, that little gradual increase really does make a difference, and as she doesn't have extremely stubborn cuticles, this speed works. However, if you're working at this speed with a ball bit and it's still not coming off, try increasing that speed just a little, but still make sure that you are comfortable working with your e-file, and that should help to get them off. Now I'm dealing with those nail replacements, and I'm taking the universal tips from Not Polish and this nail glue that I bought at my nail supply store, and I'm just quickly applying those tips. Now because she already has long stiletto nails on, I'm going to be measuring these up and using my straight edge nail clippers from Amazon. I'm going to be trimming the tip of these nails just a bit. When I'm trimming, I do like to make a V cut because it makes it easier to file these nails back into that stiletto shape without losing length. If I were to cut these nails straight across and then go in and reshape them, then the nail replacements will end up being shorter than the original length that she has on right now. So to shape these nails, I am using the 8080 grit straight file by Kiara Sky. I'm not even sure why I grabbed this one because I'm not accustomed using this one, but I do love their rectangular hand files and I prefer to work with those. This one isn't bad, to be honest. It did get the job done, but the rectangular ones do just cover more nail surface, especially on longer nails in my opinion. So to get these nails into shape, I am using my hand file from side to side so I don't accidentally over file one side more than the other. And I'm also constantly measuring these nails up to ensure that they are all the same length. Once I'm finished shaping, I do turn my client's hand around and just to make sure that everything is lining up nice and straight. Unfortunately, I did not show that part on camera. So after shaping, I'm using the same hand file to blend the tips just a bit into the natural nail, focusing on the artificial nail and not filing my client's natural nails. I'm also moving that file from side to side to prevent any heat spikes. So after filing, I did go in and remove all that dust and I cleansed the nail with a lint-free wipe and my 99% alcohol. Now I'm going in with my Mia Secret Extra Bond Primer and I'm applying this to her natural nails. But whenever I'm doing an infill, I do like to take my primer and pass it along the line of the old acrylic as well, because this does help to blend that line in even more. And I do like to apply 2 coats of primer. The first coat I allow to dry completely into that nail plate, and the second coat I do start laying my acrylic while that primer is still tacky. So on the nails where I did my replacement, I'm going in with a very thin layer of my clear acrylic and I'm applying this to the entire nail plate. As for the rest of the nails with her previous set, I'm going in and taking a small but wet bead of my clear acrylic and I'm placing this up to the cuticle area only. Now for the base of my application today, I am using the Kiara Sky acrylic brush in a size 12, the Kiara Sky monomer, as well as their all-in-one clear acrylic powder. Now when I'm applying that clear acrylic, I am holding the finger downward so that acrylic does not flood the cuticle area, making sure to spread the acrylic evenly from side to side and then lightly stroke it to blend it up into the acrylic that is already there or blend it up into the nail tip. And if I notice that I get any product on the sidewalls or on her cuticles, I'm going to remove that immediately before this product starts to set, because if that sets in those areas, acrylic is not meant to attach to skin, so therefore that is definitely going to cause these nails to lift. So tucking in the acrylic into the cuticle area and sidewalls. To do this, I like to sweep my brush in a C shape from the cuticle all the way around to the sidewall, and I do repeat this on both sides. This is going to help to seal in that acrylic. Now this step is optional and you can go directly on top of the nail with that nude acrylic. If it works for you, then definitely go ahead and do that. I'm sharing this step with you guys because this is what I do and this is what I found works best for me. So it is faster for me to do a regular basic infill on the nails that we already have acrylic on. So I'm taking a small to medium sized bead of the Cover Acrylic Powder by Kiara Sky. This one is called Rose Water, and I am going to be placing this bead right behind the acrylic that already exists, working that acrylic up towards the cuticle area, also remembering to keep her finger facing downwards. I'm going to seal in the cuticle area by passing my brush in that C shape around the cuticle area and sidewalls. Now if I notice that this nail does need a little more product, on the pinky nail I am working with small beads of my Cover acrylic, and I'm just going to continue building that nail up until I'm happy with the apex and the structure of this nail. And you are going to see me working with multiple beads of acrylic because of the length of these nails. I do like to work with small to medium sized beads. It just helps me control the thickness of my application, and I am watching these nails from all different angles just to make sure that I'm happy with the thickness as well as the structure of these nails. And I'm also making sure that the new acrylic is nicely blended into the old acrylic. Now the middle finger that was her accent nail on the previous set is going to be covered with gel polish, so therefore I went ahead and did my infill with that nude acrylic. But if she wanted me just to apply my clear gel top coat on top of this nail, then I would have went ahead and extended the marble up towards her cuticle. But in this case I did not have to do that because I knew beforehand that I was going to be covering it up, so I'm just going to go ahead and continue with the infill. So I did do the basic infill on this hand with those two nails, and I'm just going to show you guys the replacements. So I am starting with a medium sized bead, and I do place it right where the natural nail and the extension meet. I do like to work in patting and pulling motions in order to move my acrylic down to the free edge of the nail tip. This is just going to ensure that I get the thickness at the tip of the nail that I'm looking for, rather than stroking my acrylic and just wasting the product by wiping it off of the nail. And once I'm happy with the thickness at the tip of the nail, I'm taking a second medium sized bead and I'm placing it right behind that first bead, and I'm just lightly patting it from side to side, and then with the body of my brush blending it up into the previous bead that I laid on the nail. And I'm just going to continue doing this, building it back to the cuticle area. So now taking my cuticle bead, placing it close to but not directly on the cuticle, again passing it from side to side, making sure that it's nice and even around the cuticle area, and then lightly blending it into the beads of acrylic that I already have on the nail, removing any spillage of that product on the cuticle area or sidewalls with the tip of my brush. And then I'm going to look at the nails from all different angles, and if I see that this nail needs a little bit more thickness, I'm just going to start working with smaller beads of acrylic and placing it where I feel that it's necessary until I'm happy with the structure of these nails. I'm also constantly wiping down the sides of the nail tip just to make sure that I maintain the shape of these nails, and also to keep the product on top of the nail. Because this is a stiletto nail, it is easy for the product to get underneath it because of that narrow tip. So you just always want to constantly move your brush underneath the nail to remove any excess product before it starts to harden. This is going to make your life so much easier when it's time to finish file. And because this nude is a core powder, then I can build up the entire structure of the nail and I don't need to encapsulate it. So this is what the application looks like. As you guys can see, you cannot tell that we did an infill. You cannot even tell that any of these nails were missing. Now, before we even start to file these nails back into shape, you always want to test your acrylic and make sure that it's set before you start to file. I usually do this off camera, but you know when the acrylic is set is when you tap on it with your hand file and you hear this sound. Then you go ahead and proceed to file. Now I am starting by sealing in the cuticle area and sidewalls, and I am using my Kiara Sky medium grit 5-in-1 drill bit. Now this is their purple one, and it's also available in rose gold and silver, so you guys can definitely go ahead and check it out. This one that I'm using is not a brand new one. It is sort of worn out, so therefore it is not a actual medium. It's probably like a fine, so that way it's not as coarse on the nail plate. And I am still using my Beyond Pro rechargeable e-file. This time I do have her at about 8,000 RPMs, and I am using this bit, as I said before, to seal in my cuticle area, make sure that it's nicely blended into the natural nail plate. But I am doing this very gently, and I'm not putting any pressure on my hand file at all. Again, I am allowing that file to do its job. Now after I seal in the cuticle area and I'm happy with the way that it looks, I then go ahead and turn my file and file this nail in a vertical up and down direction. This is going to prevent my drill bit from slipping, and it's also going to cover a lot more nail surface when filing in this direction. And filing in this direction is not for me to remove any bulk of that product. It is just for me to remove any imperfections in my acrylic application. I'm also passing my finger on the surface of this nail, and it is going to tell me if I missed any spots or if there's still any imperfections in my application. If there is, I'm just going to proceed to file until I remove it completely. Next, I'm taking my Kiara Sky 100 grit rectangular hand file, and I'm going to use this to reshape the free edge. I do like my stilettos really nice and sharp, so therefore I spend a lot of time filing the free edge just to make sure that I have that nice crisp stiletto shape, constantly moving my file from side to side to make sure that I don't over file one side of the stiletto more than the other. And I'm also using this file to go over the surface of the nail plate. I like to finish file stiletto nails with my hand file rather than with my e-file. So what I do is I start on one side and I make a U shape, you can say. So I go up and then around the top of the nail and then down the other side, so that gives it a really nice symmetrical shape. So I don't just file on one side and don't file the other side. Everything that I do to one side, I go to the top of the nail and do it to the top, and then I go to the other side of that nail and repeat it. I really hope that makes sense and that I'm not confusing you guys. Now, one step that I do when I'm finished filing that I never get in frame is turn my client's hands around and look at the nails from her point of view. Once I'm happy with the way that everything looks from her angle and mine, then and only then will I move on to the next step. When I am happy with the final shape, I am taking the Kiara Sky 80 100 grit pink buffer block, and I'm going to buff over the surface of these nails. Now I am going to be doing some marbling on these nails, so therefore I need a nice smooth surface to work with, and this buffer is going to remove any of those scratches that would have been left behind by the e-file or by my hand file. So now that these nails have been finished filed and look at that shape come through, I did take my Kiara Sky dust brush off camera and remove all that heavy dust. And now I'm taking a lint-free wipe with my 99% alcohol, and I'm going to scrub these nails clean and get them ready for the nail art design. For her middle finger, which is technically going to be our accent nail for this set, I am going over the entire nail with Madame Glam's Queen of Heart, which is a gorgeous red gel polish, and it is just perfect for the season. And I'm going to make sure that I don't get any of this on the skin because it may stain it. But if I do get any products on the skin, I'm going to go ahead with a cleaner brush and some alcohol and just clean that up before popping her hand into the light. In this case, I don't think I got any products on the skin because I was being very careful around that cuticle area, because these gel polishes are very pigmented. When I was finished coating this nail, I did go ahead and use my finger and remove any of the excess gel polish along the sides, and then I went ahead and popped her hand into my LED lights and cured it for 60 seconds. After that is cured, I'm taking the Not Polish Super Diamond Gel Glue, and I'm going to be applying some crystals to this nail. I'm also using the Kiara Sky Bling It On pickup tool and their AB crystals. Now I can't remember exactly what name this is, but I would have it listed and linked in my description box below. So from here on out, I am only sharing with you guys one hand for the nail art design, because we went ahead and repeated the exact same thing to the opposite hand, so that way this video is not going to be extremely longer than it already is. Now I will definitely recommend this gel glue. Now as you guys can see, I've been placing and shifting the crystals around. I have not yet cured this side of my crystal placement. I am going to go ahead and do the other side, and it doesn't move, it doesn't budge. Even with these smaller stones, like they actually stay put. In the beginning of the video, as you saw, her crystals were still on, and that was after 1 month, and I did use the same diamond gel glue. So if you guys are on the market for a really good quality rhinestone gel, then definitely check out my description box below. I will recommend this one, and I do have a 10% off discount code for you guys as well. Taking the Kiara Sky Acrylic Gel Top Coat, I'm going to coat over the entire tip of this nail, remove any excess product, and I'm going to cure this again just for 30 seconds. Now that that is cured, I am taking the same no wipe gel top coat, and I'm going to go ahead and top coat to the cuticle area. You can just do this in one motion, do this part first and then do the tip and give it one cure. But for me, I don't like to see the pool of gel around my crystals, so therefore I prefer to work with it this way. Now for my marble nails, I am taking the Madame Glam's metallic ink, and I am using two different colors. I am using the shade Mahjong, and I'm also using the shade Good Fortune, and I'm just layering these two reds on top of each other. Now this does not need to be perfect at all. I'm going to show you guys a trick to achieve that marble look. So I'm taking my 3D nail art brush as well as some alcohol, and I'm just dispersing the alcohol ink onto that nail. creating very little veins in the marble. You don't need to go crazy on it because I do want this red to be nice and opaque. So once I'm happy with the little veins that I've created, I am taking my Madam Glam's long fine liner brush. You guys know how much I love this brush, and I'm just going to be using the same Queen of Hearts gel polish, and I'm going to outline some of the veins in that marble. Now this is just going to stand out even more when I apply that gel top coat on top of it. You are not going to see the veins in the marble like how it's standing out now. It is actually going to melt into the marble when you apply that top coat, and you guys are going to see what I'm talking about at the end of the video. So this is just a really quick and easy way to achieve a nice detailed marble without doing too much of the work. So once I was happy with the outlines, I do flash cure each nail just for about 10 seconds in my LED light, and then I'm going to move on and repeat the same steps to the rest of the marble nails. So here is what the completed hand looks like so far. I am going to pop it into my lights and cure it for a full minute. Now I'm taking the Kara Sky Velvet Matte Gel Top Coat and I'm going to coat over the entire nail, and look how those veins that I drew in just nicely blends into the marble in the background. Now I did not apply any gel top coat on top of the marble before drawing on those veins. I went directly on top of it and just drew those lines, and it just melts into the nail. Like, it just looks so cute. After doing that, I did remove any of the excess gel along the side walls to help to maintain that nail shape, and I do cure 2 nails at a time just to make sure that the marble doesn't disperse very much on that nude. And once I cure the entire hand, I do pop it back into my light and give it a full cure for 2 minutes just to make sure that that matte gel top coat is completely dried. So my client did want her nails glossy. So on top of the matte gel top coat, I am taking the Kiara Sky Acrylic No Wipe Gel Top Coat once again, and I'm going to coat over the entire nail. After coating over the entire hand, I do remove any excess gel, and then I'm going to pop it into the light and give it a final cure for 2 minutes. So I know somebody is going to ask me, like, why did I put a matte gel top coat first if I knew I was going to make these nails glossy? In my experience, matte gel top coats react really well to marble inks compared to glossy. When you apply a glossy top coat, that marble ink tends to streak, and it also disperses way too much, and it just doesn't look cute. So all the work that you put in to achieve this is then going to be ruined with a glossy top coat. I will definitely recommend using a matte gel top coat first, seal in that alcohol ink, and if you decide that you want it glossy, then go on top of the nail with a glossy top coat. And that is basically it for today's design, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you were able to learn something new, find some tips and tricks in today's video. If you did, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and if you're not yet subscribed, go ahead and click on that subscribe button down below. I will have a clip of the final result at the end of the video to share with you guys. These are definitely non-traditional Christmas nails. The only thing traditional about them is that they are red, but these nails can definitely be rocked for the season as well as after into the new year, and they still look fabulous. So that is the idea of this set. So that is it for me. I hope you're having an amazing day or night. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. As always, I would love you guys to stay glamorous, be safe, and I'll see you soon.